Welcome to the Improve and Have Fun podcast. My name is Paul PVP Perez, and on this podcast, I work on improving myself while having fun along the way with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. And on this episode, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the first season of The Witcher on Netflix. Now, what is this show exactly about? It's a fantasy series. I do like fantasy TV, and just to give you a brief rundown on what the show is about, and I'm finding this description on Wikipedia, trusty Wikipedia. Doesn't mean that it's always accurate, but we'll go with it. The Witcher is a fantasy drama series created by American showrunner Lauren Schmidt Hissrich for Netflix. It is based on a book series of the same name by Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski. The first season, consisting of 8 episodes, was released in its entirety December the 20th, 2019. A second season was announced for release in 2021. And the plot, it's set in a medieval world on a landmass known as the Continent. The Witcher follows the story of a solitary monster hunter, Geralt of Rivia, played by Henry Cavill, sorceress Yennefer of Vengerberg, played by Anna Chalotra, and Princess Ciri, played by Freya Allan, who find their destinies tied together. The first season is based on The Last Wish and Sword of Destiny, a collection of short stories which precede the main Witcher saga. The first season explores formative events that shape the 3 lead characters prior to their first encounters with each other. Now, for me, in watching this show, I found it to be a good show. I enjoyed it. I still believe that the best fantasy show I had seen on Netflix all year long, or just in streaming all year long, was Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. That was on Netflix. That was excellent. I really enjoyed that. The Witcher was very good, and I found that the best quality of the show was the acting. The acting all around was really fantastic. The only familiar faces I'd seen is, of course, the lead actor in the show, which is Henry Cavill. I enjoyed him in the Mission Impossible Fallout movie. I enjoyed him in the DCU movies. Superman, Justice League. I enjoyed him in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Henry Cavill, he was very good here. The other actor I recognized was Lars Mikkelsen, who plays a big kind of chief sorcerer, and I didn't know that he was actually Mad Mikkelsen's brother. I had seen Lars Mikkelsen in the House of Cards. He was like the Russian president, and he was really good there. But those are the only 2 familiar faces I saw in this series. But like I said, the acting was fantastic. The acting from one actress in particular, her name is Jodie May, and in the series she plays Queen Calanthe. In a few scenes throughout the series, she really got me emotional, really got me like almost like choked up. And there are spoilers in my notes, so just please be aware of that. Spoilers ahead. I would say that the scenes, some of her dramatic scenes in the show made me emotional. Also, the very end, of course, when Henry Cavill meets up with Ciri, Geralt meets up with Ciri, and they finally meet, and that got me emotional as well because the series kind of is building up to that. I also liked how the show was going in between 3 different timelines to join everything together for the final 2 episodes. I thought that was really, really cool, and how the final 2 episodes tie into the very first episode. I thought that was really, really cool, and I think the series lends itself to rewatch it again. I didn't watch the series a second time because 8 hours is a long time for me. I have said this time and time again. I think Netflix series work better when they're short, less episodes, and they could be long episodes. Like 40 minutes to an hour is a long episode, I feel, and 8 episodes I think keeps you wanting more. So I really enjoyed the series length, just being 8 episodes, and I hope that when it comes back it stays that way as well. This show has a lot of beautiful people in it, but the actress who plays Yennefer, her name is Anya Chalotra. Never seen her before, but she's gorgeous. Her acting as well in this show is fantastic, where she goes from someone who is almost has a handicap, who looks a little abnormal, and then becomes this beautiful woman. Her acting, her portrayal of this was fantastic, but she always seemed to have a determination to do something, to get something done. And even from her, like I said, let's say she transforms into a butterfly, like even from her previous shape to what she ends up becoming, like she always has like this determination. And I think that this actress's portrayal of that was really, really phenomenal. I like these kinds of fantasy shows. Like I said, I'm a fan of like Lord of the Rings, like fantasy, like swords and sorcery. I like this stuff. And I love the fairy tale aspect of Ciri's parents. The mother's abilities, she definitely seems to have some magical abilities. They're not clearly explained. And that's another thing I think was maybe a negative, a positive or negative for this show, where there was a lot of questions asked, but not all of them were answered in this season. So you definitely have to they want you to come back to see the next season to get some questions answered. So one of my questions was, what are these abilities that Ciri's mother had and that Ciri is eventually passed down to Ciri? I like that whole thing, that whole fairy tale aspect of the mother having these abilities and then the father being like some kind of an animal, wanting Ciri's mother's hand. Once she kisses him, or their love is consummated, he turns back into a human. I thought that was really cool, and I would have liked to know more about them and kind of go into their past a little bit. Also, another character that is introduced but you never see again is Dara the elf. He accompanies Ciri in the woods. He hangs out with Ciri for a while, but then he just disappears. He says, "I'm not hanging out with you," and then that's it. He kind of goes away. So, I want to know what happened to him. Physically, his features, the actor's features, I don't know, they lend themselves to be kind of elf-like. They have an elf-like quality, which I thought was cool too. Now, the time-shifting story, and I thought it was done really well. The showrunners, or I saw in passing a headline where I think the showrunners were inspired, or the directors were inspired by Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, how that movie was told with 3 different stories kind of coming all together. I wasn't crazy about Dunkirk, to tell you. I went to go see that in the movies. I fell asleep multiple times. I was tired, but I just also wasn't that crazy about the movie. But I thought it was very well done here in The Witcher. Other questions that weren't answered was, why was Geralt chosen to be a Witcher? And another question that wasn't answered was, what is this white flame that the antagonists are crazy over? Is this almost like a religious belief that they are just willing to go through hell and high water for? And what is this white flame that the antagonist, the Niflgaard and the Niflgaard army and Fringilla, they're crazy over it? That's not really very well explained, and looks like that's going to be answered in the next season. Like I said, there's a lot of questions that were not answered, but the show still hooked me, even with those questions. And I'll be honest, I wasn't crazy about going over it a second time, but while I was watching it, I just wanted to watch the next episode and watch the next episode. I didn't want to put it down. I didn't want to go to sleep and just watch the next episode. So the show definitely hooks you. Well acted. There's great actors in the show that I've never seen or heard of, but they deliver. They deliver for sure. I am definitely interested in watching, the next season of the show. And honestly, talking about it now makes me kind of want to go see it again. So The Witcher, very good. Not as great as Dark Crystal. Like I said, that's the GOAT for 2019 fantasy streaming wise. But The Witcher, I've definitely enjoyed, and we'll watch season 2 for sure. Have you seen The Witcher on Netflix? Your thoughts, comments, please do so below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast version, you can do so. You can leave any comment you like on the blog at www.improveandhavefun.com. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.